I'm Dr. Munir Ali. We're about to do the initial psychiatric evaluation. So this is the part where we go over everything we found, all the data, the scans, cognitive testing, and we talk a little bit about sort of the history and how it all comes together.
You excited?
Ready?
I'm excited.
Well, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's because, I'll show you in the scan, but it's because you have ADD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I was diagnosed when I was younger.
Yeah.
That's why you can do the crazy shit you do on your bike.
100%.
Because your mind can focus on so many things, but it's also why it's difficult for me to read.
Yeah.
And like do normal things.
Look at Eamon's book on the 7 types of ADD. You're classic. You're classic in the sense that like you're actually like best case scenario, meaning like you've taken seriously no, you've taken advantage. Like the stuff that you've made into a professional career, people with ADD usually it's just like a really good hobby, but they're like struggling to like do some kind of a desk job. But you've been able to take that and morph it into like your livelihood, right? So it's like
it's like I love to learn now, but like yeah,
and it's no different than when I see guys that I've seen the whole spectrum, like guys that race cars. I've seen like high-profile lawyers in the courtroom. They're all really good at what they do in the moment. They think quicker than most people. Their reaction time is faster. They can take in a lot of inputs all at the same time, and they're fantastic at what they do in those moments. And people will say stuff like, "I don't even know how you did that. Like, you know, you did something most people couldn't do." And it's the same reason ADD kids love video games. There's like 10 things happening at the same time. Most other people would look at that and be like, I have no idea what's even happening. But they're like winning the game, right?
Would that have something to do with why, like, if it's just silent, I feel fidgety and like just weird, but if like I sleep with noise, if it's constant,
absolutely,
like, there's no ups and downs.
I'd expect you to have trouble with sleep. You'd feel restless. So I'll explain it when we look at the brain. It's interesting, but that prefrontal cortex, it's ADD. When you think about how it lives in the brain, it's the ventromedial prefrontal cortex on the bottom, and it's an understimulated prefrontal cortex. And that's why we use stimulants to boost dopamine, norepinephrine. And if you didn't have ADD, it'd make you feel all geeked up and wired. But if you have ADD, it just makes you feel balanced. Okay. And so you're sensory stimulation seeking naturally. And so when you're in a situation where you have a lot of sensory input and you're stimulated really well, you're in a balanced state. You're more calm and level-headed than ever.
Makes so much sense. The like, I get weird if I don't ride and like...
Oh yeah. So we've never, I don't know how much Gigi told you, we never actually have looked at keto specifically. So the CPT, Connor's Continuous Performance Test, it's what we use to keep somebody in a concentration state. And Eamon picked it because he's like, why not use an ADD test at the same time? It's actually a validated tool to test for ADD, right? For you, Josh, at baseline, you do have a suggestion of ADHD. And that's what this
I have
describes.
A lot more writing in that one than this one.
Same thing with you here. See how much higher these are? Mm-hmm. And that's you do correlate with ADD, especially in specific measures. And here you're a lot lower, and it says specifically, you're what looked like ADD here actually kind of normalized. Mm. So you have a faster response, kind of like he did. That's actually cool to see.
Yeah.
So this
that makes me feel better because although I don't feel like this crazy cognitive boost everyone talks about, it's like it's doing something,
which is actually really cool. So
I don't think I'm just wasting my money and time by using them.
And this is a validated scale, right? Connor's Continuous Performance Test. Like this is what we use for diagnostic ADHD. So you could say here you fell into like the range for indications of ADHD, and on the ketones you didn't, which is really cool. So
that's sweet.
Yeah, you can even just keep it with your scan reports.
Thank you.
When it comes down to the actual scans, when you think about the ketones versus the concentration, both of your processing circuitry, the emotional processing, looked better. So as much as this was like overactive, it actually quieted down, and that's one of the main things that the report mentions on the ketones. And for you, even though it wasn't even that hot to begin with, it came down even a little bit more, which was good.